it's higher leverage, the heart rate's up. That's usually when I pitch better. Ever since even high school, I've kind of known that. So I feel like it's always kind of been what I wanted. I wanted the high leverage. I want to go in, like, man on third, no outs, like, try to get out of it. Like, that's kind of what I thrive for, and I always enjoyed it.
Hanging out with Matt Svanson today. Matt, Lake Zurich in Chicago area. So I got to put you on blast to start here. Did you grow up a Cubs fan?
No, I did not. My dad raised me actually a Red Sox fan, which is kind of unique, and everyone asks me about that all the time. But no, I grew up a Red Sox fan.
That's so bizarre. Is he from the area or something?
Well, his father raised him a Red Sox fan. He grew up around Philly area, so he's kind of like Red Sox Phillies. Okay. And then I grew up, obviously, I was 5 years old, 2004 World Series, 2007, so I grew up World Series, always have Red Sox gear. So grew up a fan of them, and then obviously the crazy thing is once you get drafted, you kind of just forget about them in a sense. They always have a special place in my heart, but I don't think I don't root for them actively. Maybe if they're in the World Series against someone else, I'd be like, yeah, I'll root for them and stuff.
Sure.
But,
well, and then to be drafted by Toronto too, to be in the same division.
Yeah. It's actually kind of weird because there's really not a rivalry between those two. I saw they rivals against obviously everyone hates the Yankees. That's an easy one. At the time, the Orioles weren't really that good, so it's kind of just the Rays. There's always because our complex was in Tampa, they're always around. It's them and the Rays, which I don't know. It's kind of a weird rivalry because I don't think really anyone cares about it. But they were just Canada's team. They took it us versus the world in a sense. But it was definitely it was a unique experience for sure.
What were you like as a kid, man? You growing up in the suburbs of Chicago? What were you doing?
Yeah, really, I just was obsessed with sports, obsessed with just games, competition. With my dad, I played catch with him since I was 2 or 3 years old outside. Always wanted to be a pitcher. Pretty much played every sport you can imagine at some point in my life. Just kept trying stuff out. And I would say growing up, elementary school was always more athletic, and then was a late grower through high school. So then kind of around the 8th grade, freshman year, kind of lost a lot of the ability to be good at sports. So I was always good at pitching, so I kept with that. Tried to pick up golf. Actually got cut from my freshman basketball team. Not a Michael Jordan story, I guess. Decided to give up on that one. But yeah, just was always sports, loving family around me. They've been awesome. My sister, both my parents, all my extended family's out east and stuff. So they were awesome. They visit me a lot, all the way up through college and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I just grew my love for baseball in general. Just I love sports so much, always around, watch sports, every day watching baseball, usually Red Sox games at the time. But just I didn't really care whatever. I had a collection of baseball hats, every single team, probably 3-4 hats from each team, and I'd go out with my dad in the backyard, pretend to it'd be the Rangers versus Mariners today, and pitch one inning with the Rangers and swap to the Mariners hat. That's was probably 10, 12 years of my childhood doing that every day. So
that's awesome.
Always really wanted to be a baseball player.
Were you pretending to be any specific guy, or depending on the team? Obviously?
Honestly, it was the only time I really pretended to be guys was I would hit batting practice with my dad, and in my mind I'd be all right, I'm the Red Sox. I'd be all right, Johnny Damon. That's who's up to play right now. Man, and I try to mimic Kevin Youkilis batting stance, which Big Papi, he's my idol. That's why we're 34 today. So I knew every single player in the lineup pretty much up until when I went to college. I stopped watching pro baseball as much and focused more on college, in my development. Also, the Red Sox weren't good then, except for my sophomore year when they won again.
Yeah, sure. So basketball, obviously playing as well. I mean, like you said, pretty tall guy, man. So were you playing down low, or what were you doing?
I was not tall at the time. I was kind of taller for a kid, but for example, my dad's not 6 foot. My mom's not that. I have no one in my family above 6 foot. Grandfather maybe 6 foot. So I don't know where I came from.
That's super random.
Yeah, I know. So I guess parents always joke that I just got lucky and stuff. So I'll take it. But I was not tall. I was actually short going into high school. And then kind of hit that growth spurt my sophomore, junior year, and be able to start to tick up baseball-wise, and that's when I committed to Lehigh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Lake Zurich High School. What kind of ball has been playing out there, man? Because obviously it's not one of the hubs in that area, but what kind of baseball is being played out there in the high school ranks?
It's kind of interesting, going to college and then here in pro ball, people they played high school with guys in MLB. They played against all these people. For us, there was 1, maybe 2 in our conference that were going D1. So if anyone going any sort of D1 was a big deal. We actually played Cooper Johnson for Frisco. He went to like the one private school by us. It's almost public schools except for Carmel High School, which is where he went. So he was like one of the few. We went to Ole Miss. Like that was a big deal. And then maybe one guy went to TCU, and then that was pretty much it in my area. So definitely not a baseball hub, but I guess a few people come out of there, but not really compared to like some of these other places.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't get the benefit of the coastals and all that kind of stuff of being able to play year round. So makes a difference. Like as much as it gets talked about, there's legitimacy behind it.
Oh, absolutely.
So this I don't understand how this makes any sense. I know exactly where I'm going with the next question.
Okay.
You threw 2 perfect games. You have 2 no-nos at Lake Zurich High School. You had a combined no-no your freshman year at Lehigh. Yes. You had a combined 7-inning no-no with Vancouver. At this point, do you even care about being a part of no-hitters? Because that is a ridiculous laundry list.
I mean, it's obviously always cool, but especially now as a reliever, like if I'm only getting like 1-2 innings of it, I think in the one in Vancouver I got 1 inning of it. So it's like it's cool to be part of, but it's not my feat anymore. The one at Lehigh, I went 3 of the 9 innings. So again, it's not like fully my feat, really, I'd say. But like obviously they're always still cool. Like 9-inning ones are cool. High school is all 7 innings, and like again, I threw harder than pretty much anyone. So it's just kind of like all about throwing strikes, and that's really all it was. But it was cool. Like again, my first varsity start was a perfect game, so that really like was huge for giving me confidence throughout like my high school career and knowing like I can do it and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
So were you just blowing guys away at that point then because you had some velo? Was that what you were relying on?
Honestly, I think it was mainly just I've thrown a sinker my whole life, and I think at that time like not many people threw sinkers. So like I just always threw like that 2-seam sinker, and like I've never been a strikeout guy even in high school. Like I'd strike people out because of velo, but it was never like some of these guys who go like 7 innings and have 20 strikeouts in high school. Like I bet you could talk to Ralston, like all-American type of guy out of high school. He probably punched out every single person he faced, but I've never been that way. I've always been a pitch to contact, trust the fielders. I had to do that because I never had the stuff to be able to punch guys out, but that's kind of like what it's always been. I've just been a strike thrower with my fastball.
Well, it's so bizarre because I guess it's just following you, right? Like the no-hitter perfect game thing's following you because we threw one this year too.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't a part of it. It was Cooper and it was Marrero.
Yeah.
But that's even then, like that was the first 7-inning. That was the first no-no in franchise history too.
Oh my god.
So like, I mean, if you get to St. Louis, man, like, I don't know how you couldn't be a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's bizarre that like even if you aren't physically in the game, you've been. I mean, I didn't do the math. I don't want to add it up, but like that's you're getting close to like 10 here, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah. Every single one's special and cool though. So there's nothing like it's not like they get boring at all. They're always cool. But now it's mostly the starter's job.
Yeah,
I just come in and clean it up and hope I don't ruin it.
Yeah, sure. So for Lake Zurich, you were talking about how it's not the hub of baseball or anything, but for you have reached the highest level of any alum of your high school.
Is that true?
I don't know if you knew that.
Okay.
You passed up, I don't know how to say this name, so I apologize if this guy's watching, Chris Antuzek.
Okay.
He reached high A in 1995 with the Sarasota Red Sox.
The Sarasota Red Sox.
So a team that doesn't exist anymore, obviously. But for you to kind of carry that mantle and be one of the guys that kind of got out a little bit, like how much would that mean to you if you ended up getting all the way?
I mean, obviously it means so much. Like it's kind of funny that it's for the Cardinals because that whole area is Chicago Cubs fans. So whenever I got traded here, everyone's like, I'll root for you, but I root for the Cardinals at all, which is kind of funny. But I mean, it's pretty cool. Like I don't really get a chance to go back home much, but whenever I do, like I have guys I played baseball with who are coaching like travel teams. They'll like reach out and ask if like I can come by, like just talk and stuff. And like obviously when I'm living it, I don't really realize that. Like when I was a kid, I looked up to pretty much any minor leaguer. Like at that point, like I think like, oh, I'm not in the majors. Like it's not as big of a deal yet. Because like when you're experiencing it, just like seems day to day. Like you have some fans asking you, but you don't realize like how cool it is for some of these people there. I mean, yeah. So long story short, it does mean a lot, though. It does mean a lot to know that. I didn't know that, though. That's pretty cool.
Two balls, two strikes, 7-5 Cardinals. And the pitch, swing and a miss. Witherspoon down on strikes.
All right, dude, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but traded by the Blue Jays here to the St. Louis Cardinals in the Paul DeJong trade. Mm-hmm. Where were you when that went down?
So I'll just give you the full story because it's kind of a hectic like 3-4 days for me because I was in Vancouver Saturday, and then I walked into the field, and then their coach told me, he was like, hey, you're going up to New Hampshire, which is our AA team. It's like, that's crazy. That's cool. He's like, yeah, I hope you got sleep because it's a red-eye flight. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Pack up all my stuff, go, like 12 o'clock flight, get into Boston at like 6:30, 7 a.m. the next day, and then take an hour-and-a-half shuttle up to Manchester, New Hampshire for a Sunday game. And that's when I showed up there, and that's when Clough and Sem got traded for Hicks. I believe that was the full trade there because they were in New Hampshire at the time, so they get traded over here to the Cardinals. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe this is all going down. Pack up. Next day, we drive 7 hours to Binghamton, and then Tuesday morning, I'm scrolling on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, Bo Bichette's injured. I wonder if they're going to make a trade at the trade deadline. I get a call from our farm director. I'm like, oh, man, I wonder what this is about. And then so I pick it up, about to go to the field in like an hour for what I thought was going to be my AA debut. And he calls me, and he's like, hey, Matt, how's it going? I'm like, what's up? In my mind, like, what's up with the small talk? Just tell me what's going on. So quick small talk. He's like, yeah, long story short, we traded you to the Cardinals for Paul. And I was like, obviously just so much. I just got texts from 30 people like 20 minutes ago about congratulating getting called it up to AA because that's what just got posted out, roster move. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I walked down to the hall, talked to two of my friends. I'm like, guys, I just got traded. They're like, haha, it's very funny because we were joking the whole time, like, oh, we'll get traded for Shohei Ohtani, like whatever, because there was rumors about that happening. And they're like, oh, that's so funny. And like, no one believed me. I was like, no, I just showed them the phone call. They're like, I still don't believe you. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I walk out of the hotel room to my buddies. I'm like, hey, Mason, like, dude, I just got traded, man. He's like, ha, screw you. Like, he thought I was joking. Like, everyone's like, oh, you're joking, whatever. And then finally comes through, and I get texts from, like, teammates and all this stuff. Like, oh, man, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't know you were serious about it. So, and that was a weird day because I had to go to the field, like, pack up all my stuff that was already taken off the bus there. And then I had to play, like catch because I haven't thrown in 4 days at that point. And, yeah, then I had 3 flights the next morning at 6 a.m. to get here. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. It is a hectic story.
So you played catch with Blue Jays prospects while as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals then?
Technically. Well, I actually played catch with their pitching coach. I was playing like, I'm like, I haven't thrown in 4 days. I'm not going to throw tomorrow. Like, I need to throw. And he's like, all right, well, you can't throw like harder than like 70 miles an hour because if you get hurt, I'm fired.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I won't. So that was like stressful. And I like was just literally in casual shorts and a t-shirt, just like playing catch out there. And then actually I stayed and watched the game. I just kind of hung in the bullpen with them. They had to leave me tickets for the game. It's like, this is
because you're not a member of the team.
Yeah, and I had to move hotel rooms to a different room because they're like, well, the Blue Jays can't pay for your hotel room, so the Cardinals had to pay for. It was a lot. And I remember talking to our the Cardinals farm director. He's like, "Where are you in New Hampshire right now?" I'm like, "No, I'm in Binghamton." He's like, "Oof, all right, I'm gonna have to do some research on flights to get you out of there."
We don't travel there.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
Binghamton to LaGuardia to Atlanta to Springfield
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was exhausted. I got no sleep. And obviously, I'm just excited. Like, so much going on. I didn't sleep at all that night. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, also, you couldn't.
Well,
like,
exactly.
physically, there's too much going on,
There's
man.
so much going on.
That's so crazy, man. So when you do get traded, I'm always curious, or I guess we've never really talked about this on the show because we've had TK Roby on the show, and we talked about the trade, and that was a wild ride because he was rehabbing. So then he had to go to Florida from Arizona, and it was just that was a mess. But when from your experience, what's like the last point of contact you have with the club that's trading you? What was like, all right, man, see you later, we're done. Like, who's the last person you talked to? Was it the pitching coach or front office? Like, what's the last point of contact?
I mean,
with the Blue Jays?
I think the last official point of contact was I got that call, and then they're like, the farm director is like, yeah, they'll reach out to you. They have your number, and then that was kind of it. Like, I went to the field to pack up my stuff, so like I didn't have to talk to anyone. I just I knew. The pitching coach at that time was my low-A pitching coach, so like I knew him pretty well. He helped develop me, so I kind of talked with him. But other than that, it was just like after the game, I was like, just hug some guys. I'm like, all right, I'll see you guys. Like that was it. Like I still talk to some of the players. My area scout reached out to me like right after, like congratulating me. So I guess technically him, but at that point, like he's part of the club. He's more kind of like just part of the experience, like almost like a friend at that point. So, but yeah, I think it was pretty much that phone call. It was like, all right, good luck, and then. That was it.
That's so crazy. And then it's just kind of cut it.
Yeah, obviously, like some staff members like reach out because I just got called from Vancouver, so the manager, the pitching coach, the trainers, like they all texted me and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the official one was that, and then probably the last paycheck I got. So,
That's true, yeah. Or I guess when you got the tax forms.
exactly. Oh yeah, the tax
months.
forms. Tax forms. That was probably it.
Okay, so you get here to Springfield after the mess of travel over the course of X amount of days. What's the first thing the Cardinals tell you? Obviously, we traded for you, welcome, yada, yada, yada. But like when you get here and it's baseball time, what's the first conversation past, hi, I'm Jose Lajer, nice to meet you?
Yeah. Honestly, I think they did it pretty good. I think they just kind of said, all right, like it's mid-season. We're not going to change your lifting program. We're not going to change how you throw, because I've been doing the same thing for the past 5 months at the time. So they're like, yeah, just you're in Double-A, like go do you. Like I remember I was talking to Spencer, who was our strength coach last year. I believe he's in the FCL now. And he was like, yeah, whatever you're doing, like let's do it. Like I worked with him. EP is kind of like same thing. Like you do plyos, you do this, whatever, just do that. Like because we don't want to switch it up and have you get injured. Like let's just finish off this month and a half of the season. Also, it's crazy at that point we weren't even close to playoff contention. I think we were like 4 or 5 games out. Like it was just kind of like coasting through. So I mean, at that point I was just trying to make a good impression, but it was pretty much just do you, and then like if we need to change anything, work on that in the off season, work on that in spring training.
Okay, so they kind of just let you fly then with it.
For the most part, like it was more just them asking questions about it, like, oh, at that point it's like, do you have a third pitch? Are you working on one? Like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? It's kind of more them learning about me in a sense, because like again, I said last year felt like summer ball. That's what it felt like. I showed for a month and a half, get to know everyone, and then I leave. It felt like a collegiate center ball. I'm friends with people. And then spring trainings when I really hit, I'm like, oh, I actually did get traded. Like, this is a new org, new team. Like, it's not just this staff and the players I saw there for a month and a half that I got to know. Like, these are the new guys.
That's crazy, man. So you are currently leading Double-A in saves. I don't know if you knew that. I know we've
seen,
tagged you and stuff. I try not to say this kind of stuff, but you are leading the league in saves.
Yeah.
And you're one of the top closers in minor league baseball right now. Mm-hmm. You've also started, obviously, in your career.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about closing now? Is that a whole new venture that you're still getting used to, or where are you at with it?
I've loved closing. I closed last year when I was in Vancouver. Like, even throughout college, I knew I was always going to be a reliever. I never really had the like starter stuff. Like I really struggled. Honestly, like I always had my sinker, but like I really struggled having second, third pitch. I was able to finally develop a second one, but like I knew I just didn't have like the stuff. Like whenever I went farther into games, like my velo would drop. I couldn't hold velocity at all. When I tried starting with the Blue Jays, like again, my velocity was down 4 or 5 miles an hour. So it just like I knew it wasn't going to stick. I also like when kind of it's higher leverage, the heart rate's up. That's usually when I pitch better. Ever since even high school, I've kind of known that. So I feel like it's always kind of been what I wanted. I wanted the high leverage. I want to go in, like, man on third, no outs, like try to get out of it. Like that's kind of what I thrive for, and I always enjoyed it.
So do you even miss starting at all?
No, when I was starting, I hated it every day. I would tell the pitching coach, like, when are they going to make me a reliever? It's funny because the Blue Jays actually asked me before the season if I want to be a starter or reliever. I said a reliever, and they said, all right, you're going to be a starter for us. Which I thought was funny. But honestly, like, in hindsight, it's probably a good thing. Like, it really helped me develop, like, my pitches, like, helped me, like, really learn how to just throw strikes. Like, I feel like my success now stemmed from there, even though my velo was down. Gave up a lot more runs, but, like, my ability to throw strikes, command the zone, and, like, throw multiple pitches really helped from that. But, yeah, no, I hated every second of it.
That's awesome. I love that. Because, like, some guys will be like, oh, yeah, no, I really miss start. Like, most guys, honestly, everybody I've ever talked to is like, yeah, I really miss it, man. Like, I love having the ball to start the game. Like, no, dude. That. I'm done with it. I don't want to. I want to hang out in the pen, and then I'll come in for an inning. So you're into being with the Cardinals now. Like, it's past a year now.
Yeah.
And you've been here, and I know we talked previously about how you kind of settled in, and you're like, okay, now this is like real, like like you said earlier. So what's different now? Like, what's different from you as a pitcher, as a player, as an adult? Like, what has changed now in a year that you've been able to get comfortable?
Oh man, that's a pretty loaded question. I mean, like, obviously, I could go purely off stuff wise. I've added a new pitch. I added a cutter. I think that's going to be inevitable whether I was with the Cardinals or not. But I think being here, like, actually Jimmy Crooks really helped me fine tune it, to say the least. I came in, wasn't really that good, and he was like, oh, just try this grip, and now I have that pitch, and that's one of my better pitches now, which is, I guess, probably wouldn't have had that if I was somewhere else. Other than that, just, like, being here for a while, like you see some of the younger guys or like the newer guys, people from Peoria last year come up, like just like getting to know a lot of people. Like most of the staff is the same from last year, or at least the ones that I interact with. So I don't know, that's kind of a tough question, but I feel like I'm pretty similar. Again, just more confidence, but like that's also just being in Double A for a while. Like I've had some struggles and I've been able to learn from those, and I feel like I've kind of really like succeeded from being able to talk to different players and staff and just like experience and stuff throughout the season.
Have the Cardinals focused on anything different that the Blue Jays were not focusing on?
I'd say the Blue Jays were a lot more like analytics focused for sure. There's a lot more like stress on strikeouts, like whiffs, like very like metric based stuff. Like, and it was at the lower levels. It was like if you're not striking people out, you cannot go about it. It doesn't matter if you have like a 2 ERA or whatever like that. So while here it's a lot more, again, like it's a higher level, so it is different. So now it's like perform, like in a sense, like because in the big leagues, like if you strike 2 people out in an inning, but if you get outs and don't give runs, like the team's going to need you in that aspect. So they've kind of helped, like they've helped me, like I just being around all the different players. Like you get so many different opinions from staff, spring training, bunch of different pitching philosophies coming at you and stuff like that. But I'm going to say for all purely stuff, it's mostly the cutter is what they help me with.
So are they like allowing you to kind of pick your own philosophy in a sense, or are they still like?
Yeah.
Is there like an overarching like, okay, the Cardinals believe this? Because like I've told you off mic, I worked in the Yankee system, and the Yankee system was like, we are working on sweepers. Like we care about sweepers like crazy, and every guy in the system, we're going to teach you how to throw this pitch, and it's worked.
Yeah.
Maybe not in 2024, but previously it has. Is there an overarching theme that the Cardinals have, and then you kind of like find your way into that system, or how does that all work?
It's pretty much been our philosophy is pretty much just like throwing as simple as this, throwing strikes, but like throwing all your stuff in the zone. Like doesn't matter. Like you don't worry about halves. Don't worry about corners. Like if it's a pitch, don't try to put that fastball in the corner. Put it in the zone. Your stuff's good. Like you're in Double A for a reason. And I feel like that's been good. That's a philosophy that I personally believed in before I even came here. And there's always once I got here, that's all it was. Like, yeah, if you have a good slider, throw it in the zone. If you have a good fastball, throw it in the zone. And then if you have 2 strikes, expand if you need to. But if you don't have to, because, again, you're in Double A, fastball plays, your slider plays, hitting is hard. Like, that's kind of the philosophy they've had, which I thought was really good. And that's kind of what I've always believed in for the most part.
You said a phrase that Quinn Matthews said.
What did he say?
Hitting is hard.
Hitting is hard, yes.
I think maybe they're putting that into your brains, which is true.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that maybe that's part of the Cardinal way.
Hitting is very hard.
3-2. Swing and a miss. Got him upstairs with the heater.
All right, Matt, we got one more thing for you here
Yeah.
today. The Cardinals Quickfire. We do this on every single episode.
All
We
right.
just fire a bunch of questions at you and
All right.
see how you do.
All right, I think I'm prepared.
Here we go, man. They have nothing to do with each other, so they're just completely
Okay,
random.
all right.
Okay, you went to Italy after the 2023 season. What
true.
was the best thing that you did?
Best thing I did, honestly, doing wine tours in Tuscany. That's probably my favorite thing. There's a million things, but that's probably my favorite thing, doing wine
Red,
tours.
white, rosé.
See, I've never really been a big wine guy, but it really let me appreciate a red wine. Like, I just learning more about it and just trying different ones. Like, enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really a wine guy either. So, maybe you can show me around. You played at Lehigh in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Did you ever see any concerts at Steel Stacks?
So I never got a chance to, but I spent one summer after my freshman year during Summerfest, and it was the whole Main Street is where the concerts were. I never actually went there. I believe Kesha was playing at that time, so didn't get a chance to go. But
Steel Stacks rules. That place is awesome.
that's what I've heard, and like some of the people going this year is unbelievable. I saw it. I was big time rush. Like that's pretty cool.
That's crazy. We'll get a Cardinals trip. We'll all go out there to see Big Time Rush. Simple one: LeBron, Kobe, or MJ?
Oh, man, I grew up in Chicago. I gotta say MJ, but I respect LeBron so much. Like the longevity, you cannot get over. And then Kobe changed the game. But I'd have to say MJ. I have to stick to my Chicago roots. But like, it's way closer than I think a lot of people say it is.
Yeah, I figured you were.
Yeah.
I figured otherwise you get a lot of texts about it. Okay, when you combine to hit a no-hitter against St. Peter's and Lehigh, It was their 53rd straight loss. Did any part of you feel bad about no hitting them?
No, not at all. I was a freshman. I was trying to get innings. I was trying to get my feet in the ground. Like I needed that so bad.
Did you even know that it was their 53rd loss?
Oh yeah, that was
everybody knew.
Yeah, we played them twice a year, and it's like there's like college baseball pages that post it every time, and also it's low pressure. You don't want to be that first team to lose to them either. So, but no, I did not feel bad at all.
We asked TK this question, and he said, "A wolf or a manatee? What is the biggest animal you could beat in a fight?"
He said a manatee?
He said he thinks he could take a manatee.
That's insane.
I think the direct quote is a manatee or something.
The biggest animal that I could take. I mean, I know this is crazy, but I feel like I could take an ostrich. Like they're pretty big. Like I can grab it by the neck. I don't know, but I feel like they're fierce. But at the same time, like what are they going to do to me? Like probably nothing. I don't know. I disagree with TK. Manatee's insane answer. Insane answer. But
an ostrich. I don't know. Do ostriches like? Is it like a giraffe situation where they like whip their necks? I have no idea.
I don't think so.
How they fight.
I think maybe they peck. I don't know, but like that neck can't be that strong. Like that's my take on that.
Everyone's got such a weird answer to that. I think that's got to be a regular in the Cardinals Quickfire because we're getting weird.
It's a good
answers.
question.
Ostrich.
You get some weird. Yeah.
God, your first answer is ostrich. Okay. Okay. Same thing. We've asked a couple guys this. Rajic homered. TK said he homered. Quinn said he got out. He doesn't remember how, or he didn't tell us how. What happened in your last at bat?
My last at bat, I was a PO my whole senior year, but my senior summer, my high school coach was my travel ball coach. He gave me one at bat, hit a single up the middle. So
leave it like that.
I don't believe Max and TK. They're lying. They're for sure lying.
So apparently Max has video proof.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be asking that in 10 minutes.
Yeah, we got to ask. Back to your Chicago roots. Ketchup on hot dogs.
No, mustard only.
Mustard
and
only.
I stand by that. I'll ridicule every person here on that. Like mustard only. And I grew up loving mustard. My dad loved mustard, so I actually don't even like ketchup at all. But
have you ever had ketchup on a hot dog?
I mean, yeah, when I was a kid with no taste or culture. But
all right. Well, I guess I won't tell you what I put on my hot dog. Okay, staying with the roots here. Chicago deep dish or Detroit style deep dish?
I've honestly never had a true Detroit style deep dish. I had a place that said it was, but it's not. But I love Illuminati's pizza to death. Like but I can't eat a whole pizza. It's like a slice or two before I'm about to pass out.
I would be crazy. I would be concerned.
Yeah, those things are insane.
Yeah, that's too much. Staying on food, man. You played in Vancouver. Your last real stop. Are you a poutine guy?
I am a poutine guy. I have been before, but honestly, there's not as much poutine there. It's very a lot of like Asian food. Like the sushi was the best I've ever had there. Like I'd say almost Vancouver is more like Asian culture than it is like Canadian culture in a sense. Like you have the roots there. You have poutine, but like I mean sushi places, Thai places everywhere. Oh, that's crazy. That food's amazing.
What was the best thing about Vancouver in your eyes? Obviously the Nat rules we talked about it the other day.
Yeah, I mean I could talk about this for an hour, but honestly just a place where you have a city next to a beach, next to mountains, like it's the most beautiful sunsets you'll ever see in your life.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, and then we have again. I think we're figuring out what we need to ask everybody because they always garner great answers. So I asked this of some of the pitchers. Quinn said Greinke and Ichiro. TK said Shohei. Tink said Barry Bonds. You versus any batter, alive or dead. You have one chance to showcase your best stuff. Who do you want to face?
Am I trying to get them out? Or is this just more of like a?
I think this is. What this has turned into is kind of more of like a peacocking battle of just like show your best stuff, like the ultimate test. Who would you want to take on?
Ultimate test. I mean, like I grew up loving David Ortiz. I would love to face him once. I think he hits a home run off me every time. But honestly, I'd be honored at that point.
Just the little tippy cap as he rounds.
Yeah, as he's trotting around the bases. Like, I'd have to say him. That'd be a cool one to face.
Matt Svanson, thanks for joining us, man.
Of course, thank you for having me. It's awesome.